Everybody, welcome to another episode of Connor with Honor, where we talk about everything real estate, artificial intelligence, fitness, and all sorts of topics. Today, I'm going to be talking to Jeremy Dean, a local home inspector, but not just local to Santa Clarita. He goes pretty far. He'll talk about that himself. But what was interesting is I'm doing an open house a couple weekends ago, and he shows up, and he's already. He set it up on purpose to come in, but I'm looking at him and he looks very familiar. Anyway, he reminds me we're friends on social media, and that's the way the world works, right? You know all these people, but you've never met him in person. And I'll tell you what, he was just absolutely stellar, quality guy. And he even brought me some treats to the open house, which was fantastic. And I guess that's his method. So playing it forward like that without really even knowing anybody, handshake to handshake, it really was very honoring. So I wanted to bring him onto the show today to talk about his home inspection services because I've dealt with them. If your agent's watching this, I'm sure you've dealt with good ones and bad ones. And just in our quick banter back and forth at the property, Jeremy explained to me a few things I'm going to bring out on the show today that really shows that he's very forward thinking in the home inspection business and really a value add for the realtors out there and their clients. So welcome to the show today, Jeremy.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it was good to meet you after being friends on social media and watching your show. It's good to meet you and being able to do this. It's great. Thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Listen, so how did you get started in the business? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I got started. I bought my house about 10 years ago out here in Santa Clarita and didn't have the best experience with my home inspection and the buying process. Um, and around the same time, I had a few other friends that were purchasing homes and also echoed the same thing, that the home inspection was kind of a joke and didn't really help them, and they didn't give them the information that they could have had and should have had. So I looked into it, and I did see that in California, actually, it's kind of a strange industry. There is no licensing required or anything required actually in California to be a home inspector. Anybody can become a home inspector without any formal training. So
Yeah, there are all these. Go ahead.
I
I'm
went
sorry.
to two of the top inspection schools in the country, ICA, which is a really good one. And then I went through Internachi as well, which is a big school that does a lot to support home inspectors with continuing education and overall support in general to help you to become a better home inspector.
You know that what's interesting about that, those schools that you mentioned, I've done a little bit of research on them in preparation for today's show. They're not just pay and get licensed type places. They're very difficult schools to go through. So congratulations on getting those certifications to add
Thank
to
you.
your clients. What you said was very interesting to me because when I bought my first house back in 1996, I think we talked about this. We're very similar in nature when you talked about how you offer scoping services for the sewer lines. That was the big part of my fiasco when I purchased my house. My agent wasn't upfront. The home inspector that he recommended was his home inspector. And
Right.
come to find out, we had massive root systems growing in those sewer lines. And when I called the plumbing company, she said, "Oh, honey, we were out there last week cleaning it out. I guess the
Mm.
buyer was doing an inspection." I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm the buyer. So it would have been nice to have somebody a little bit more honest with the technology to back it up. What do you find for the most common issues out here in Santa Clarita that you see?
I don't think there's a common theme out here. I mean, there is a lot of settlement out here. We have the very mountainous terrains. So there is a lot of settlement. There's a lot of issues with grading, with water pulling up near the foundation. So there's some settlement and minor cracking of, you know, the foundations. Nothing real horrible, but there is a lot of movement out here, and include earthquakes in that. It just happens. So you'll see a lot of cracks in foundations, cracks in interior walls, drywall, stuff like that. But overall, we're
Another
lucky to be in Santa Clarita, where there's a lot of proud homeowners who do take really good of their homes out here. So that's a good thing.
How far outside of Santa Clarita do you go for your business for home inspection?
I go pretty much anywhere. I've been as far north as Bakersfield, California City, down through Calabasas, Los Angeles, Culver City.
Okay, so you have a
wherever I'm needed.
pretty
Yeah.
wide reach.
Yeah.
With your home inspection process, another big complaint that I hear from agents is how long it takes to get those reports. Not that, we try to, not that we exhaust time, but in some cases, it's nice to get them relatively quick so we can start developing strategies for the buyers on their behalf. What's your return around time and how do you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally understand the urgency of being in escrow and getting that stuff done and getting time to get repairs done or renegotiate. So normally 99% of the time I have a report delivered the same day. There's very few occasions where it's the next day, the next morning, it will be delivered. Uh, Sometimes if there's something, sometimes I have to go back and re-inspect something, but I'll deliver what I have in that report and then go the next day or as soon as possible, do that re-inspection and then deliver the full report.
Most buyers, when they're looking at these reports, some of them, another point of contention is they're confusing. I mean, although a buyer should read everything and their agent should read everything too, unfortunately, sometimes they just want to get the highlights. Some of these reports are difficultly laid out. Tell me about yours.
Absolutely. I've seen some of these reports, 150 pages long with repetitive items in there that are very difficult to navigate. My report is very clean, very well organized. Uh, you receive it digitally. You can print it on a PDF if you're still one of those PDF guys and print it out. But that also does have a summary page as well. But digitally, it has a nice summary, easy to navigate. I also have a tool called repair request tool.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Tell us about
So
that one.
you can pull this tool up and it brings up all of the defects found in the report.
Okay,
Now, as a realtor, you can click on specific, you can select all of them if you want, or you can
sure.
select certain ones that you're interested in focusing on. You click those and it builds a separate report that from that same screen, you can email or text that report to the seller's agent or to a handyman or electrician or whoever you want to. And that delivers a precise, clean report, detailed photos, and everything you need to communicate to the person you need to.
For everybody watching, what usually happens is we either have to retype it or we copy and paste certain sections, but it looks horrible. So really retyping, if you want to look like that consummate real estate professional, retyping it's necessary. But this is super streamlined where it's going to highlight what's important, those things that need to be attended to, or you would like attended to at least. And it puts it in, I guess, one particular format in a document that you're able to forward to whomever you want.
Correct. That's correct. It's very precise and neat. You can also add, if you're looking for a credit dollar amount, you can put a dollar amount in each defect that you want a credit for.
That's awesome. That's very, very good to know. I think you're the first to have put something like this together, at least that I've heard of. I've talked to a few people. So that's fantastic. I wanted to go into a couple other items. Now, you talked about the repair request tool. That was a big one that I wanted to hit on. Talk about the different technologies you're able to utilize when you go out to these residents to inspect, because some of these cats just, they crawl through the attic if they even do that, and really they kind of just step back from the house and they give it a look or maybe pull out some binoculars, or they go inside and they look under the sinks and everything, which I guess is great, but technology has gone to a different place now. What do you bring with you?
Absolutely. Well, like you mentioned before, sewer scope was one of the big ones. You mentioned you had roots in your
Oh boy.
sewer. I also did. And this is why I add sewer scope at no extra charge in my inspections, which is an incredible value, $200 or $300 value.
Oh,
And
absolutely, yeah.
yeah, so like I said, I had roots in mine. I was lucky because it was on a piece of soil in between cement driveways. So they were able to get to it through the soil and not have to dig up cement. But it was a $5,000 repair my first week living in my new home. So I do that. SewerScope is an amazing tool. Um, I also I try to walk on every roof that I can, every inch of it, but there are certain roofs that I cannot walk on. So I do have a drone to inspect roofs. which is very effective, actually. It takes amazing pictures and you can get into small places. So it's a very effective tool. Also, I use thermal imaging, an infrared camera, and this helps. You can find hidden leaks behind walls that are not visible. I use it for seeing hot water plumbing, go through the plumbing drain lines and
Oh,
stuff like
that's
that.
cool.
You can use it for the main electrical panels. You can see hot breakers or hot overheating wires and stuff like that.
Yeah, that
So,
thermal imaging, it's a huge deal, especially out here with the mold issues and moisture trapped in walls issues. You mentioned at the start of the show the grading and some of the settling of properties where the actual foundation might go below the actual earth surrounding the residence, and that water can intrude in that weep line. And if I mean it can be
sure,
sitting there for years. I'm sure you've run into this. Without that particular technology, unless it's gotten to a point where it's deteriorated the interior walls and you see bubbling, you're kind of stuck. You don't see it. So good for
correct.
you.
Yeah,
Those that particular technology, that's just offered at every home inspection that you do. You run that camera.
absolutely. Absolutely, I do. And all those services I don't charge extra for. They're always included in all my inspections.
One other thing that's really, really important, and I know this from a client's perspective, most of the home inspectors, they say, you can call me, you can ask me questions later on, you can make an inquiry if you have any other questions that come up. Because a lot of time we do the debrief, we try to do it outside of the seller's ears, just because there's
Correct.
lots of arguments and fights that happen whenever the home inspector is saying something they
Yeah.
found, the seller says, oh, that's not a problem, and that's not a big deal, then there's issues. But when we have this debrief, there's a lot of difference between the debrief and the report. So there's, because, you can remember a lot of things, but maybe this item you just didn't recall from the photographs you took in the inspection. So, but it's in the report, right?
Correct.
Because your reports are conclusive. After that, though, having a client get in touch with a home inspector, even though the home inspector said, yeah, call me anytime, I'll be able to get back with you as soon as I can. It never happens. How's Tell us about that on camera in front of God and everybody. Tell us about how you respond.
No, no, I'm always available. I look forward to going over the report with you. If you want to get on a Zoom like we are now, or just get on the phone and go over the report. I work realtor hours, so I'm always available.
Yeah, I was going
I'm
to ask
happy.
about that.
I'm
That's
happy
good.
to explain anything. I mean, my reports are very, very detailed with photographs and everything. So most items you'll have a pretty good understanding of what is going on. But I'm always available. You can call me 10 o'clock at night. I'm happy to go over things with you, explain things, um, make suggestions. Actually, that's more of the realtor's job. I try to be a neutral party and be factual, just explain the defects just factually. We never know. I don't know the clients. I usually meet them at the inspection, so I don't know their personalities. I leave that to the realtor. I try to report just factual, unbiased. I don't get excited like, oh my God, this is a big problem. I just report it and they're going to react how they're going to react, the realtor is the person to work with the client and go through that phase of the of escrow.
Yeah, you're not a shock type home inspector. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. You're just
No,
basic facts, and when people ask, I'm sure you respond accordingly. But you're not, trying to get all the drama involved, and that's fantastic because
yeah,
buying a house is just a massive stress bucket of well, stress and
right.
anxiety. There's a
Yeah.
lot to it, lots of money involved. I wanted to ask you one thing as well. From what you've seen in your home inspection experience, if you were going to give a tip to those sellers out there as far as maintenance goes, what's a few things or maybe one big thing that you see as a result of their neglect that they might want to attend to?
I mean, sellers, they usually try to fix the more mediocre items,
Okay.
but they leave a lot of small things undone that can add up. I mean, it could make the number of items that you're reporting a lot larger. Simple things like window screens, broken window screens, or missing window screens, sliding glass doors that don't operate smoothly, old yellow smoke detectors that looks like, someone's been smoking 3 packs a day in the house, those are
Oh
small
my God,
things
that's right. Yeah.
that really make a difference. A lot of small things can be overwhelming for some buyers and, scare them away more than like a few big things. Like if you can focus on just a few big things is better than a list of 50 or 60 small things.
Do you
So
do
just
you do I was going to ask you, do you do the pre-home inspection for the sellers if somebody was getting ready to sell their house and they wanted to have a home inspector come out just to document what's going on and maybe get some suggestions? Do you do those type of inspections as well?
Sure, I do those, and I'm working on a new feature called Move in Ready Certified, where we can certify a home that it's move-in ready, it's safe, everything, all the systems are functioning properly and not overly aged. And we can put a sign out in your yard that says it's move-in certified, and we'll even have a barcode where they can scan that barcode and see the report. And we
Oh,
can we
Jeremy,
can do the we
brilliant.
can we can do the pre-inspection,
Mhm.
and then if there's items on there that need to be taken care of, then we can update that report until it's certified.
Oh, that's fantastic. Great advice, great technology, and great service. What's the best place for them to contact you?
Well, I have my website, www.deanshomeinspection.com.
Got
It's a
it?
good place. You can go there to get a quote of pricing. You can schedule an inspection there.
Okay.
It has links to my social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you can always call me at 818-472-3585.
That's fantastic. I'll put those in the show below. Is there anything you want to say in closing before we finish today? And fantastic job, by the way. Really great to hear about your services.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm ready to go to work for you and your clients. I really enjoy helping clients out to get to know the home that they're purchasing and give them all the knowledge that they need uh, to move forward with their purchase, and helping realtors, have a easier time reading and going through reports and getting that section through escrow.
Thank you very much for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Connor. Appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jeremy Dean. You run into a lot of home inspectors in this business, and unfortunately, some just don't cut the mustard. And when you get down to that zero time frame and you got to get somebody out there, maybe your favorite or whatever you want to consider it, they're just not available. It's nice to have just one go-to that realistically works realtor hours instead of the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. And Jeremy really fits that bill. Plus, he has the technology, he has the reports, and he's got the brain. He's actually expanding his business to put in other things that sellers and buyers will find of value. And you just heard it on today's show. And I appreciate everybody watching the Connor with Honor podcast. Thank you so much. And we will see you in the next one.